Hey, hello poultry farmers, welcome to my channel, welcome to another video. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel. It will be helpful for you if you're in poultry business, for you to manage your poultry business very well, because we post content about poultry farming and lessons about poultry farming to help you improve your poultry business. So on this video today, we want to talk about stunt growth. Specifically, I've got this video which is right here, which I talked about paralysis and stunt growth. So today I want to concentrate more on stunt growth. So what causes stunt growth? Number one, the breed. So it depends the kind of a breed that you are having in your beds, what breed you are having, how good is your breed. So that's why I always emphasize buy your beds from a non-dealer, a non-supplier, because if you buy beds from somebody who is just new into the business, you don't know what you are getting, because beds needs to be vaccinated first at the hatchery, and these guys, if they are new into the business, they won't have all the accurate answers at the given time. So number one, when choosing the kind of a breed you need to get, you need to make sure you choose from a non-supplier who is going to give you a good quality chicken, because you know when this happens when your beds are not growing, most of the time you find like maybe there was a bad management on the beds which are supposed to, the eggs which are supposed to be put in the incubator were not at a good quality, because they measure these eggs before they start putting them in the incubator for them to produce good quality chickens. So you find if they are new suppliers, maybe they don't even have the equipment to measure these eggs, you find they just put in the eggs anyhow. So it becomes a challenge. So that's why you have to be careful when picking up your beds that you are going to pick up, to avoid stunt growth. Then secondly, brooding. Of course, brooding as well also, it doesn't start with us, it starts at the hatchery. So but I would speak about the other part, which is us. You need to make sure your brooding management is well managed. Make sure your charcoal brooder is good. If you're using charcoal brooder, make sure the room is having a good temperature, which is well for the chickens, which the chickens can behave very well with that particular temperature you are giving them. Then secondly, another thing is you need to make sure your ventilation is okay. You don't just close up everywhere because you are brooding your beds. You need oxygen to come in and oxygen to go out, because if you don't have enough oxygen in the room, you have a problem with stunt growth, because the beds, probably if the ventilation is not okay, you will have overheat in the room, which will cause the beds to start having heat stress, which will trigger some other diseases, which will now cause your beds not to grow very well. Again, also they'll start stressing. Then another thing, if again the temperature is low, the beds, instead of using that heat to convert the feed into meat, they'll start now using that heat to warm that heat to warm themselves. So that should be paid attention on as well. So another thing is you know, when we talk about heat and these other things, it's also important to look at the aspect of your sawdust and your beddings for your chickens. There's those who will use maybe maize bran when the beds are still small, which means the beds will start just eating that maize bran instead of eating the feed that you've given them. So I talked about also the beddings of the chicks on this video, which is on the link here. You can watch it and make sure you watch it so that you know exactly how you deal with your beddings. So again, another thing is feed quality. Feed quality also is important for your chicks, so that you can produce a good quality bed, so that these chickens can just grow very well. If you have a low quality feed, which means you have beds which are stunt growth, you need to make sure all those are in order to make sure you grow up a good quality chicken. Then another thing is biosecurity. Make sure your room is clean, your litter system, like I've mentioned, it's always intact, and make sure the room was disinfected the moment you were doing all those preparations. Then now, how do we solve these problems? So the way we can solve these problems, if our beds are stunt, maybe our beds are not growing very well, what we're supposed to do is start giving them multivitamins, so that it can boost up the immune system, so that the beds now can start growing at a good rate. Then sometimes you find like maybe the beds, it's only one bed or two beds or maybe three in the poultry room. You find like they are the ones which are stunt. On that part, when those beds are stunt, of course what we do is we separate them to help them grow when we separate them from the bigger ones. But the other thing that you must know about these stunt growth beds is that beds which are stunt, they get affected very quickly with diseases because their immune system is not strong enough. So that's why if there's only 2 or 3 beds, just take them out, because if those beds which are 2 or 3 get affected with a disease, which means they'll be able to spread it to other chickens. So which means you need to take it out of your beds, out of your flock, to protect those other chicks. If it's only 2 or 3, just take it out. Or if it's just putting them separate or maybe aside, but if you don't have a room where you can put them, because they can't be in the same room because they can be infected, then they will spread the disease to the other chickens. So it's better you just get rid of them. And what I mean is just kill them, or maybe if you have a dog, you just feed them to the dogs, or maybe you just take it away, or maybe turn it into a local chicken. Just put them outside, start giving them maize bread so that they can just become like village chickens. Make sure they're not in the room, because if they're in the room, they can catch a disease and then they will spread to other chickens, which won't be good for you. So you get rid of them. And then, like I mentioned, if it's the off-rock, you need to start giving them medication that will boost up their immune system to make sure they start growing very well. You start giving them multivitamins so that the immune system can be strong, to make sure they start growing very well. Sometimes you can even just dive into starting getting into organic. You start giving them moringa, all these types of organic medication that can boost up the immune system or help up your bed to grow at least at the range that they need to grow because they were stunt. So those are the things you can do to chicks which are stunt. And you know, if they are stunt, of course, if you've experienced beds which are stunt, they always get affected easily with the diseases, which is not good, which means you also start losing money on stunt growth beds. So make sure you choose from a good supplier of those chicks, and also good quality feed to make sure the beds grow very well, because in those feeds there is proteins, there is fiber, there is fat, which will eventually boost up the immune system of your chickens, which is a good thing. But if it's not the off-rock, like I've said, get rid of the chicken. Then if it's the off-rock, start giving them multivitamins. It will help out your beds to grow very well. So that's the only way you can do with stunt growth beds. Put them out there. If there are 2 or 3, just take them outside. Then the rest, start giving them multivitamins so that they can boost up the immune system. So I sure it's helpful for poultry farmers who are having these challenges, like the beds are slow in growth. Just give them multivitamins so that they can improve their growth. It's the way you boost up the immune system of their chickens. And one other thing, even if you are doing organic, save yourself some stress. Vaccinate the beds. Even if you are doing organic, vaccinate them according to the vaccination schedule that the supplier has given you. Vaccinate them to avoid these other things. The time for vaccination, vaccinate the beds. Then continue with your organic practices. That way you'll be saved, and that way you'll be in a good place of not getting frustrated when your beds start getting sick. Then you start saying, why didn't I just vaccinate the beds? I wanted to practice this. I'm just telling you, vaccinate them, then continue with your, to save yourself some time and to save yourself some stress. So that's what you do with stunt growth beds. They get infected very fast. So I hope this video was just talking about stunt growth and how you can avoid it. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and make sure you like the video so that I can know that everything that I've mentioned is helpful to help you in your poultry business. Thank you guys for watching. Bye bye.